We pretend that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before dawn. Gotta be patient for a while. Someday we look at stars in this same sky. When I'm on the other side. Take me back to the life that we once knew, when the walls weren't closing in like they are now. 'Cause it's been too many years since California. I wish I could get there, I don't know how. See, one day I'm gonna reach ya, take a plane for many miles. We pretend that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before dawn. Gotta be patient for a while. Someday we look at stars in the same sky. When I'm on the other side. Oh.
I'm here only because your stare won't ever let me go. I'm here only cause I'm aware with you is better than all alone. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, 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 oh, oh, tonight we're stars but we'll fade away. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down, so we'll
Hello everybody and welcome into virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Welcome into the FEG-PC 133 Saturday season opener here for the FEG-PC Money Racing Series. We got an exciting one tonight. Drivers finishing up practice now, and then we're going to go straight into the heat races to set your starting lineup for the night. Shaping up to have a strong field here tonight. Had about 23 trucks in the Friday opener last night, hoping to get some more than that tonight. I'm your host, the Green Ghost, Austin Green. You're watching on Ghost Racing Network. If you're just getting in here, let everyone know the stream is up. Unfortunately, I did not get to get all my last minute messages out to Discord that the stream is live, so let your friends and family know. Come on out, get in here, watch the broadcast. BB, how's it going, man? Good to see you in here. Got a great night of racing shaping up. A lot of cool things that we are going to be talking about throughout the broadcast, but one that we can talk about real quick while these drivers are finishing up practice, as we kind of talked about last time, something new in the Money Racing Series for FEG-PC this year. Give me one sec. Sorry, let me mute this. I'll be right back. And I do apologize for that. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Just had to fix something real quick. Back to what we were just kind of talking about, though. There is going to be a PC on the line at the end of 2023 that the top 10 drivers in terms of earnings, so the top 10 drivers that earn the most money throughout 2023 are going to battle it out at the end of the year for a PC. And right now, I think leading the charge currently is Matthew Baker. Last year's winner, although we were not keeping count, would have been Ken McCall Jr. As we see Ambrose Kniebel doing some pre-race stunts there. Paying a little tribute to Ken Block as he just absolutely flew down the backstretch. White flag was in the air, though. That's going to wrap up practice. We're going to get set up for these heats. Some of the drivers weren't initially too fond of it, but I'll tell you what, the last couple nights I've been hearing feedback, and these drivers are really enjoying the heats. Let's take a look at what your starting grid for Heat 1 is going to be. Let's take a look, actually, at how many drivers, before we do read that, are looking like are in the field tonight. Can base it off what we have in the two heats. It's looking like we might have around 20 at the moment. Could still trickle in potentially, but for this heat, looks like going to be starting on the front row is going to be Jay Dargert and Ron Morris Jr. to his outside. Looks like second row is going to be David Sheets, third, followed by Taylor Peacock, owner of Straight Cash Money. Fifth is going to be Derek. Sixth, Ryan Johnson. Seventh is going to be Ken McCall Jr. Eighth, Matt Lee. And rounding out Heat 1, ninth is going to be Jimmy Sox. And last place in Heat 1 is going to be Austin Floyd in the 168 truck. I do believe we are going to have two heats, from what I'm seeing. That would average out to about 20 trucks. But these guys are going to put on a good little show here. Heat's definitely not something to skip on. That is for sure. Let's get you back up, though. Who's going to be your pole sitter for Heat 1? Because currently, none of the trucks have loaded in. What in the world? This is a new one. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break to fix this. I am not sure. I've never seen this one before, but I'll have it fixed in about 2 minutes. I'll be right back. And I welcome everybody back. So it turns out we were actually not having the issue. It looks like Jeff has reset the server. He is changing it. So that would be why we were seeing none of the drivers. So we are going to go ahead and head over there before we can get back started. I did get word that it's going to be going up at 9:38. So we are going to go over there real quick. We're going to go back to intermission. Like I said, I do apologize, guys, but looks like the drivers are heading into a new lobby. I'll head over there, and I will see you once I get there. Try to pull some music up for you guys in the meantime.
Just take a breath and take it deep to show the world that you can see a life that's full of wonder, but it will never be enough.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back. Sorry for that delay that we had. Like I said, it seems like the host Jeffrey Ford did have sort of an issue with the lobby. iRacing has that a lot of times, so unfortunately he did have to create a new lobby for these drivers, and that was the delay. So I do apologize. Unfortunately, nothing that I can do about it, but we're back. We're getting ready to go racing. I am certainly excited. Let's go check out a couple things here before we get started. Make sure everything is working as it should. It looks like it is. Like I said, we are about to have some heat racing here to get your grid set up for the race tonight. So let's go over your starting grid for Heat 1. Starting first, looks like it is going to be close to the same, but it's still going to be Jay leading that inside to green for Heat 1. Second is going to be Matt Lee. Second row, third is going to be Ryan Johnson. Fourth, Mark Jenkins. Fifth is going to be Ron Morris Jr., followed by Derek Fulton in sixth. Seventh, Chad Ross. Eighth, Christopher McCall. Ninth is going to be Austin Floyd. 10th, John Mullahan. And rounding out Heat 1 and 11th is going to be Jeff D. Merck. Let's go back up front. It looks like we may have had a little bit of an issue there with what was going to be your pole sitter. Jay has fallen to pit road. So Jay having an issue early here. We'll see if he can get it fixed and get back in here for race time. Definitely would like to see Jay in here. Get to see that for him. We are going to use the ticker for these heat races. A lot of action going on. Get you as much of it as we can see. Sometimes you can't see all of it, but like I said, a little bit on the ropes, so we're still going to try to get in a rhythm here. I think the heats are probably the best way that we can start. It is opening weekend for FEG-PC. A lot of new stuff, new formats to start 2023. We're certainly excited about it. It looks like I'm getting a little info that something may have happened to Chad Ross back here, but he looks A-okay. May have just bumped into another truck here under the pace lap. Sometimes that happens. If everyone in chat could let me know, as like I said, we did get in the weeds with having to switch over the lobbies and reconnect everything. Let me know how my audio quality does sound, and if the video looks like it's running pretty smoothly for you, that would help a lot. Duck Duck Goose running to the concession. Now's the time to do it, brother, because after these heats, we're going green for the main event. You don't want to miss any of it. It is going to be exciting. So the only thing that is going to shuffle up there with Jay having that issue that we saw, is that is going to move Ryan Johnson to your pole sitter for Heat 1, starting first on that inside line. Right in the 38 truck. Looks like we are going to set up. Ticker does have to load in, so what's going to happen here that you might see is this ticker on the top is going to go away for now. It will come back in a little bit. You might see it kind of frozen. It will be ready and prepped to go for the main race. We are setting it up right now, so that is normal. But 38, Ryan Johnson's going to lead him to green on the inside. Matt Lee on the outside. He's got the 999 of Mark Jenkins behind him. Mark gets a good run to his bumper here quickly. We'll see if they can go anywhere with it. They can't for the moment. Oh, but the inside's going to fall back. Ron Morris Jr. didn't quite stick to the bumper as much as he wanted to. See Chad Ross now working up to the bumper of the 999 truck on the outside. Matt Lee's going to get a good push. If he clears the inside, does he go low? But now on the outside, the 7 truck, that's Derek Fulton. He's going to jump to the outside. Christopher McCall thought about working with him for a minute, thinks twice about it. But now they're going to drag Chad Ross up to the 3rd lane with them. And I'll tell you what, that middle lane being led by Matt Lee right now doesn't have the help that I got to believe they're looking for. Got to think what they're going to try to do right here. Get back on track with it. Down to the bottom. It is still Ryan Johnson. Looks like he is going to lead this first lap at the moment. Matt Lee's got some push behind him, but it's not going to be enough. 30. Oh, actually, he does get it right at the line. The 04 of Matt Lee is going to lead the first lap. These are really short heats. Only 6 laps. And we do have the SDK working again for you, so I do apologize. But you see that now, only 3 to go. We are already halfway through this heat. Chad Ross leading the outside. Can't seem to get the charge he's looking for, though, at the moment. Now Matt Lee's going to drop low. That's going to put him in a prime position to try to win this heat. Derek Fulton doing a really nice job on the bumper. Chad Ross pushing with all he's got out of turn 4. But now the middle lane's starting to fight back. We see the 94 Christopher McCall. He's going to jump back in the low lane. Must not have liked what he saw up top. Ryan Johnson doing a nice job, though, still pushing Matt Lee. But looks like, you know who's doing a nicer job? It's going to be that 60 truck of Jeff D. Merck. He's going to get that 999 clear. We'll see what he does with it. He is going to drop low. That's going to give Jeff some breathing room. He's going to start working. I'll tell you what do you want to do if you're Jeff Merck? Do you jump up high? They have more trucks. But Christopher McCall is still pushing him. Plenty of momentum right now. I'll tell you what, I do want to check something real quick. There we go. Had to take a quick look at something. We are going to be coming to 2 to go. This time, in that top lane that has been led by Chad Ross, can't seem to get anything going just yet. Ooh, Christopher pushing really hard on Jeff. He's got to be careful. Doesn't want to get Jeff turned around. Two to go. Mark Jenkins still leading the bottom. Doing a nice job in these heats. This is the time to try stuff, folks. If you want to try anything, try it now. While there's no risk involved. If you get wrecked in these heats, it doesn't matter. You're still guaranteed in that main race. Oh, we see the 94 getting really wiggly on the outside. He's keeping it together for the moment, but Chad Ross giving him all he's got. I heard some contact with the wall. They still keep it together. Bouncing off each other here early. Easy, boys. We haven't even got to the main event just yet. Mark Jenkins likes what he is seeing in his mirror. The more contact and racing that goes on back there, the less he has to worry about up front. Matt Lee feeling pretty comfortable tucking in behind that 999 truck right now. And you see the top lane very, very disorganized right now. They're not going to be able to make any progress unless they start to suit themselves out. Oh, it looks like a little bit of contact on the outside wall. I'm not sure who that was in the back. Take a look here at some of these. Oh, and the 7, Derek Fulton, he's going to lose it. He's in the wall hard. He's going to spin it, lock it down. No caution in these heat races, so back up front, they're still going hard at it. This is the final lap. The outside now does have a run. We'll see if he can get clear. He doesn't. Matt Lee now in charge. He's looking good. Ooh, Mark Jenkins got to be careful pushing on the bottom. You can't do that here. Matt Lee He's got to hold off the charge from that 38 of Ryan Johnson one more time out of turn 4. Working their way into the tribal. They're going to go 3, 4 wide now into the tribal with the 60. There's contact up top. They're 4 wide in the tribal. Jeff Merck, now the bottom's got help. Matt Lee's getting sideways. The 38 is going to get it at the line. And John Mullahan's wall riding into turn 1. And how about that for your Heat 1 finish? That's a good way to get the night started. Your race 1 winner is going to be Ryan Johnson, who we saw switch to the guy that took the pole. We saw some problems early. And that's going to get us ready to roll here for Heat 2. And if it is anything like what we just saw there, I am very excited for it. A couple reminders, if you are watching at home or wherever, you can make sure you do have your quality up as high as it will go if it's looking a little bit not as good, if you will, for you. But do let me know in the chat how the video and audio quality looks, as it is not showing as normal as it usually does on my side. So I can't see unless I get feedback from you guys. So please let me know how that is so we can have everything set up here for the main event. Put on a good show for these drivers that paid to get in here. And that's going to go ahead and get us set up. Let's take a look at your starting grid for Heat 2. Starting first, pole sitter. It's going to be Autumn Koger in the 4 truck. To her outside, she's got teammate David Sheets. Third is going to be Taylor Peacock. Fourth, it looks like, is going to be Landon Hendershot. That's a new driver in here. We'll see what he can do. Fifth is going to be Ambrose Kniebel. Sixth, Chris Blanchard. Seventh, Casey J. Switch. I do apologize if I said your last name wrong, Casey. Eighth is going to be Jimmy Sox. Ninth is going to be Drew Ballesteros. And then 10th, rounding out this heat, looks like it's going to be Derek. I did see Derek in here last night. Still getting used to some of these drivers, and I think the biggest thing that I still struggle with as a broadcaster is just pronouncing some of these guys' last name. Working on that, but let's go back up front. Your pole sitter for this race, she's just getting ready to roll. That's going to be Autumn Koger. She's got to be feeling pretty good. She's going to have teammate David Sheets to her outside. So if those two can get lined up with each other, they're going to be looking real nice. I'll tell you what, it's been a little bit of a chaotic start tonight. But it really wouldn't be a broadcast without issues to overcome, now would it? And with that being the case, I do want to bring up some points that I did talk about earlier, but they might have gotten lost through some of the confusion of getting set up tonight. This race is going to be paying out the top 6. You saw it earlier, big payouts. We don't have quite a full field. It looks like we might have 21 drivers from what I'm counting so far. So that is, I believe, half, just about half, if not just over half payout. So those are still really good payouts. And one of the other things that we do see that is new this year, besides this heat qualifying format, which we just saw Heat 1, put on a nice little appetizer for what is going to be the main feature later, but there is going to be a PC given away that the top 10 drivers are going to fight for. And some of the drivers that we may not have saw on a consistent basis, if you will, as much last year, they're coming a lot more now. Ken McCall Jr., he is currently my top pick. You will not see Ken miss a race. If you do, he told me there's probably something wrong. You might want to call the police. Ken is in every one of these. The more races you do, the better shots you can get yourself at winning money and getting yourself a chance at that PC at the end of the year. If you do want to get started in on the action, you can look in the description of this stream. You can find FEG-PC's Discord down there. Shelf in on it. This is going to be another 6-lap heat. What we're going to try to do real quick is pull up the ticker, see if it wants to work right now. It looks like it does. Funny how that works. Decides when it wants to work, decides when it doesn't. Gotta wonder who's going to get the better push here. Looks like the outside lane. David Sheets is going to have Landon Hendershot. Like I said, a driver I have not yet seen in here. We'll see what Landon's made of tonight. And then Autumn is going to have the 17 Taylor Peacock. Straight cash money owner. He is also looking to push Autumn to the lead. So we'll see what happens right here. Green flag is out in the second heat tonight. Autumn absolutely blows by the 06 on the restart. But now David Sheets starting to fight back. Looks like the 21 is going to be the first truck to the bumper. Ooh, and you see 04 of Ambrose Knievel gives just a little bump. That 17 of Taylor Peacock, that gets him just a little out of shape for the moment, but he collects it. Keeps himself together very nice. And I thought we were going to see 3 wide there towards the back. Yep, we are now. Jimmy Sox is going to jump out of line. Already taking on similar characteristics to Heat 1. Looks like he is going to be followed by the 71 of Derek. They do only have 2 trucks along. We'll see if they can get it going. David Sheets now drops down to the middle. They're back to 2 wide. Outside hasn't really been able to generate any momentum yet. You got to wonder, Taylor Peacock, I was just going to say, will he jump to the outside? He does. That's going to put David Sheets behind him. He's a very good pusher. Looking for this middle line to get something going. That is also going to put Ambrose Knievel behind your current leader, Autumn Koger, as they are now 3 wide, dead even. These guys do have to be a little careful if they're trying to start up front. No cautions in the heat races if they do wreck. That'll probably end their chances at starting on the... One thing to note is, as we actually see contact with the outside wall, that is the 01 of Jimmy Sox. Looks like he does keep it together. That's going to beat up the right side door of that truck a little bit. Autumn Koger likes what she has seen in her mirror as well. Ambrose Knievel staying tight to her bumper. They're followed by the 27. That's Casey. He hasn't made a move yet. The 17 of Taylor Peacock falling back. He made that aggressive move. Thought it was going to work out for him. Didn't. Now he is starting to drop like a rock. 54, though, is going to jump outside. That's going to add a little bit of help. Taylor Peacock working his way back up to the bumper of the 54. Can't get there just yet, but he's working it. Outside now. Here they come down the backstretch. 3 laps to go. Autumn Koger still leading. She's led since the drop of the green for this heat. See, looks like the 71 trying to get something working up top again. That's Derek, but no one's going to follow him right now. He's going to have to tuck back in line, try it again. I'll tell you what, it looks like that 27. Casey's really getting something going now. The 54 has found the back bumper of that truck. Can't push through the trial, but once they lock up out of and just as we say that, you see the 54 get on his bumper, just gets him a little bit out of shape into turn 1. Can't hold momentum. You got to stay tucked to the inside line, and you got to have 3 trucks. That's not going to happen though right now. As we see the 17 Taylor Peacock, he jumps back out of line. You think these guys aren't running close? How's that for close? We're coming to the white flag for this heat this time. Looks like the 27 is pulled dead even, can't quite get clear. But that's a good sign for that middle lane. They do still have the 3 trucks. That's an advantage against that outside line, but the 54 gets the 27 just a little bit out of shape again. Oh, now they're 4 wide. There's contact. They're going to spin. That's a wreck. They're wrecking big in the back, but it's not going to matter up front. Ambrose Knievel now washing up. They're going to wreck again. David Sheets. Ambrose Knievel's in it. They're all in it. Autumn Koger looking like she might walk away with this one. Looks like David Sheets and Ambrose Knievel sort of straighten themselves out. But Autumn's got such a big lead now. You see her snaking it down the backstretch. She's trying to break the draft. I'll tell you what, I think those trucks behind her might be just a little bit too far back with a little too much damage to catch her. She's working her way out of turn 4. No pressure yet. She is on the apron. She's doing everything to make sure David Sheets, her teammate, can't get the draft. She's going to ride that apron into the trial the final time. Heat 2 winner is going to be Autumn Koger. She will start on the pole for the outside line. Nice run from Autumn Koger in the 4 truck as they all piled up there on the last lap. And that took out everybody. And I'll tell you what, that is going to set us up for the main event. If you're just getting tuned in, make sure you get comfortable because we just finished the heats. Now it's time to go racing. here in the FEG-PC 133 at Talladega Superspeedway. We're going to get rid of some of this. We're going to take a quick break real quick to set a couple things up. We'll be right back. Get started on the action. Stick with us. We're back here live at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers currently getting their last preparations in. Little 3-minute warm-up. We'll be all set to go for the main event. If you're just tuning in, so far we have had 2 heat races, which did set your qualifying order so far tonight. I'll tell you one thing that we can do while we are waiting is let's take a look at the results if we can from those 2 heats. Heat 1, your winner was Ryan Johnson. He's going to be starting on the pole for tonight's race. Second was Matt Lee. Third, Christopher McCall. Fourth was Jeff Merck. Fifth, Mark Jenkins. Sixth, John Mullahan. Seventh, Austin Floyd. Eighth, Chad Ross. Ninth, Ron Morris Jr. 10th was Jay, who we saw have an issue. And 11th was Derek Fulton, who's going to be starting last on that inside row. Heat 2. We saw it there after a big wreck on the last lap. Your winner was Autumn Koger in the Ford truck, followed by David Sheets. Ambrose Knievel, third. Fourth was Jimmy Sox. Fifth, Landon Hendershot. Sixth is going to be Taylor Peacock. Seventh, Casey. I do apologize. Casey. And then looks like we had eighth. Who was eighth? That one, I can't tell who that is. Fortunately, they do make these screens really small for me. It makes it hard to see. Looks like eighth was Drew. I do apologize, as everything is loading in actually from what makes it hard. But anyway, 8th was Drew. 9th was Ron Morris Jr. And it looks like Chris Blanchard was 9th actually. I do apologize. And 10th was Derek. You see the drivers now just kind of starting to roll. So we are going to go over your starting lineup. As we talked about, starting on the pole tonight is going to be Ryan Johnson. Second, Autumn Koger. Third in the second row is going to be Matt Lee. Fourth, David Sheets. Third row is going to be Christopher McCall and Ambrose Knievel. Seventh, Jeff Merck. Eighth, Jimmy Sox. Ninth is going to be Mark Jenkins. 10th, Landon Hendershot. 11th is going to be John Mullahan. 12th, Taylor Peacock. 13th is going to be Austin Floyd, and to his outside is going to be Casey. 15th, Chad Ross. 16th is going to be Drew. 17th, Ron Morris Jr. 18th, Chris Blanchard. 19th is going to be Jay, who we did see have an issue, followed by Derek in 20th. And rounding out the field is going to be Derek Fulton, who we also saw have a little bit of an issue. He did make the heat. Fortunately, though, got wrecked out pretty early. He may have retired that truck, but that is going to be your starting grid. Let's go up front to your pole sitter. Ryan Johnson is the drivers on their warm-up lap now, getting ready to go. take a look at your race info for tonight. We are at Talladega Superspeedway. It's the FEG-PC 133. It's going to be 50 laps, 100% fuel with the competition caution coming out on lap 15, and that is going to play a little bit of a factor in fuel strategy. They will still have a green flag pit stop to make after that competition caution, but it will be a sprint to the competition caution. Wind not a factor here tonight, partly cloudy, 78 degrees outside. You're watching the Green Ghost on Ghost Racing Network, and if you do want to get in on the action, check the description. You can find FEG-PC's Discord. Get yourself in on this money racing. Maybe take home some money yourself. We are going to be talking about a couple different things throughout the night. It was originally going to be a 90-lap race. It was shortened to 50 laps. Something I do think these drivers like. Not as long of a race. A little more action. Less worried about pit stops. I know everyone does like a pit stop, but sometimes not everyone's a fan of a ton of pit stops. But I'll tell you what, strong showing from these drivers tonight. We had 23 last night, 21 tonight. These guys are ready to duke it out. Pace car is going to pull off. Ryan Johnson in the Oreo Rich truck going to lead him to the green. Starter has the flag in hand. Into the Geico restart zone. He waves it. Green flag is out. Matt Lee with a really good jump behind the 38. That's going to give him the advantage, but now Autumn Koger's teammate David Sheets, he's going to get to her bumper just in time. That's going to stall out any chance of that inside getting clear for the moment. And I'll tell you what, if Matt Lee can somehow get clear right here, he is definitely going to jump to that top lane. He's not going to be able to, though. Autumn Koger holds strong on that outside. One thing that we do have in the race we didn't have in the heats, no 3 wide for the first few laps. Everybody's going to have to stay patient, stay tucked in line. It's tempting. You have a run. You got teammates behind you. You want to go, but you can't. Autumn Koger's not going to need it, though. She gets a huge push from her teammate, David Sheets. That's going to clear her down low in front of Ryan Johnson. The David Sheets being pushed by his teammate, Christopher McCall. They're going to see if they can somehow get David clear now on the outside. Don't quite have that third truck helped right now as Jimmy Sox not able to get to the bumper of Christopher McCall for the moment. Take a look. Christopher's doing all he can here. You can see in his cockpit view, he is right on the bumper of that 06 truck, David Sheets. And you can push as hard as you want. You see him trying to offset just a little bit to the right as they work their way into turn 1. Remember, though, before we continue to go on, there is that competition caution on lap 15. So we are going to see some split strategy, I do believe, here between some guys getting really racy, some guys just playing it safe. The last car in this draft at the moment, it looks like, is Chris Blanchard in the 9 truck. He's drafting behind Taylor Peacock. To his inside is Chad Ross. And it looks like already Mark Jenkins is currently, it looks like, a lap down, I do believe. He must have missed the start. That is what can happen sometimes. But he is okay. Like I said, if he can just stay where he is, that competition caution on lap 15 should help him out. Looking a little bit more towards the middle of the pack here, we have Austin Floyd, John Mullahan. We haven't talked about John in a couple of these races. I think John might be, nope, John does have Chad Ross here. Those are the only 2 Team 3 drivers in the field tonight. So they might have to find some other guys to pit with. And one thing to kind of talk about, Team 3, we always talked about, was one of the 2 biggest teams in these money racing events. But as of lately, at least what I have seen, I have not seen as many Team 3 drivers all in a race together as we used to see. We used to see about 5 or 6 of them all in a race. Now I've only seen, on average, 1 to 2 here in the last couple races. That's not the case for McCall Motorsports, who on Wednesday, the first official FEG race of 2023, got a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish. And that is not something you see often, but that is sure how they wanted to start 2023 off. If you missed that, go check it out. That was the first time since I've been broadcasting that I saw a 4-truck burnout after the start-finish line. They caught up to the field after the pit stop before the rest of the field even pit. One of the most dominating performances I have seen in the Craftsman Truck Series in a long time. To the outside now, Jeff Merck He's getting help from John Mullihan, who we were talking about. Christopher McCall and David Sheets did find their way in front of their teammate Autumn Koger on that inside line. Landon Hendershot, we talked about him a little bit in the pre-race and a little bit during the heats. Nice looking 21 truck. He's going to see if he can get to the front. Back up front though now still David Sheets. John Mullihan can't seem to get Jeff Mert clear yet. They've got the 38 Ryan Johnson, who has found his way to the outside after starting on the pole on the inside. Still no 3 wide just yet. Wouldn't be surprised though if we do see it before we do hit lap 15. We're 5 laps through here, only a 10th of the way through this entire race, but a 1/3 of the way through this first little stint, if you will. It is 100% fuel, as I think I did state earlier tonight. So that is about 30 laps. You can stretch it a little more. I'd say 32 if you're really saving. You can get about 32, maybe 33 laps of fuel here. But that second run is going to be really borderline. And I'd be really surprised to see any of these drivers make it, but I do think a lot of them will be close. And certainly all of them can make it in one green flag pit stop. Riding on the nose here of Autumn Koger. You see her pushing her teammate Christopher McCall in the 94. Autumn doing a nice job making sure that she doesn't really push the pusher. You can kind of do it. We talk about it a little bit. Everyone says don't push the pusher. It is true. However, on the straightaway, if you're really smooth with it, you can kind of do it just a little bit. You kind of see Autumn doing it now. She gets really close. Don't really want to link on though, especially once you're coming up on the corner if you are that 3rd truck in line. We kind of have a stalemate right now between these first 2 lanes. Let's take a look back, see if anybody back here is organizing it all. Chad Ross still playing it safe, sticking back. Derek Fulton in the 7 truck. This is going to be a guy to watch out for late in the race. Derek's dangerous once he gets lined up with some guys. Good pusher, good leader. Ron Morris Jr., one of McCall Motorsports teammates that's not currently up there with those top 3 on the inside row. He sure would like to be. See if they can get another 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for McCall Motorsports. We know that the weekend opener is kind of a big deal for these guys. Most of these drivers, the most filled races, if you will, is what we see is on weekends. So setting the tone for 2023, starting off good, would definitely help, as we do see the 54 truck trying to do something on the outside. Doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere for the moment. He's the only truck up there. He's going to have to get some help. No help right now, though. It looks like that is Drew. Frank Rangers entered the chat. What's up, Frank? Make sure you get yourself a drink here. We got a good race for you tonight. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the FEG-PC 133. We get the name from the mileage. It's a 2.66 mile super speedway. We are going 50 laps tonight. If you do the math, 50 times 2.66 is 133. David Sheets still leading the way. Autumn Koger did lead him to green. Sorry, she led him to green on the outside. We saw Ryan Johnson actually lead him to green. He is currently that 3rd truck on the outside lane, but now watch out, that top lane's got 2 trucks. They're starting to get something going. 54 couldn't find any help, but he's found some now. It looks like Ron Morris Jr. in the 76, who we talked about trying to get up there with his teammates. He'll work with whoever he can find right now. They're just now starting to get alongside. Wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Sox decides to jump out, but he doesn't. He stays tucked in for the moment. Jimmy, one of those drivers we see, gets a little aggressive when he needs to, does a nice job. Now let's take a look at some of these views from the middle of the pack here. You're riding on board here with Matt Lee. Tell you what, it doesn't look like Matt really has some of his teammates tonight that, at least I would say, I'm used to seeing. So Matt is another one of those drivers. He's going to have to find some different guys to work with. Last night we did see a lot of the pros, if you will, some of the more higher I ratings. But one thing that I did hear last night, and I can totally attest to it, I rating doesn't really mean anything in these races. I've seen guys in here with I rating under 500, and they can go out here and smoke some of these I ratings at over 4,000. Jeff Merckx still working the outside as we are now on lap 10. Hasn't got clear. A little surprised to see that. John Mullihan not pushing with everything he can right now. Just kind of playing it safe. No need to get yourself wrecked early as you only have one faster pair and you'd sure like to save it for the end. That way you can go race and give it all you got. Austin Floyd in the 168 truck. I like that paint scheme. It's a good looking paint scheme. You don't see him that wild often. It looks like a Mario paint scheme, Super Mario or something. That's a good looking paint scheme. And then we do see some 3-wide action really starting to crank up now. The 38 of Ryan Johnson, your pole sitter for the night. He had enough of that sitting in line nonsense. He's going to jump to the outside. And that's going to push that middle lane to 3 trucks. The moment they're waiting on help from Austin B. Floyd. David Sheets, Christopher McCall, and Autumn Koger all liking what they're seeing right now. Thought Chris might jump out of line here, but I think they're pretty content with sticking 1, 2, 3 on that inside until we get to that competition caution. We'll see if anybody does try some strategy. I wouldn't be too shocked to see some of these drivers actually pit early, which you'll see them do sometimes. Oh, it looks like Autumn gets a little out of whack there. Matt Lee and her gather it up nicely. What I was just about to say is what we might see is some of these drivers pit with about 1 to 2 to go till that caution. Remember, it is on lap 15. If I had to guess, I believe it'd be on the end of lap 15. So probably the start of lap 16, but we'll see. Either way, though, the action is picked up. We are 3 by 3. About 4 rows deep. Ron Morris Jr., Ryan Johnson, the 54 Drew. They're trying to get something going up top, and they have just about made their way even with those 2 inside lines. And this looks like Mark Jenkins now that we see coming back on the track, and that is going to put Mark 2 laps down, I do believe. And that's not good for Mark, as we were just talking about he was on. There's a lap down, but he would probably get it back under this competition caution. Unfortunately, 2 down. It's only going to get 1 of them back. That middle line is really falling apart now. John Mullihan, he ducks out. That's going to leave Jeff Merck by himself. However, up top, the 38, Ryan Johnson getting a really good push from the 54 of Drew. They almost got clear, but not quite for the moment. At a turn 4, David Sheets still leading the way. And here we go. We're seeing some pit stops. Looks like John Mullihan's going to come down. He's going to drag a couple of them with him. See who all pits here. John Mullihan locks it up, but he keeps it together. Nice job. Matt Lee follows. See who else we have here. Can't tell just yet. That looks like the 57, the 01 of Jimmy Socks. 57 is Jay. We saw Jay not actually make the heat. Good to see him get in here. And we'll see who wins the race off pit road here, as that very well could be your leader for the start after this competition caution. 2 laps to go left. Sorry, 2 laps left in this first stint. It looks like Matt Lee is going to win the race off pit road, followed by John Mullihan, then the 57, J01 Jimmy. Let's go back up front now. They're back to 2 wide. The 54 still pushing on the 38 of Ryan Johnson. They have not been able to do anything, though, to that inside. McCall Motorsports drivers doing really nice. You see him get bottled up just for a minute. They keep it going. The 38 not quite able to get the run. And this might very well be the last lap in this stint. I'm not sure, like I said, if the competition caution is coming out on lap 15 or the start of lap 16. But still, side by side, we'll see if the 54 has one more charge for the 38. If you're going to do it, you got to do it on the backstretch. Looks like the 27 is going to jump 3 wide. He's got no help behind him, though. That's not going to be able to go anywhere. Ryan Johnson with the huge run. He gets clear. We'll see if he goes down. He's going to pull the 54 with him. They might even be able to... Oh, and the 54 is actually going to leave the 38. What a move. That's Drew Ballesteros. And I'll tell you what, he might be able to hold it off, but Ron Morris Jr. is going to give one more charge to the 38 from the outside. Sometimes that outside holds the momentum better. David Sheets doing a nice job, though. They kind of fall apart just a little bit on that outside. 54 is going to lead him to the line. We'll see if the caution flies. No caution yet. These guys are still racing. That makes me think it's going to come out next lap. 76 can't quite link. Oh, and there it is. The competition caution is out. I'll tell you what, I kind of needed a break there. Things were getting exciting. Looked like, though, at the line, it was the 54 of Drew Ballesteros. And he did a really nice job getting to it. Let's go back and take a look here at this move, if you will, actually, from the 54. You have to go back a bit farther than this. It was a pretty ballsy move. But I don't know that the 54 does have any teammates. And sometimes you got to make those aggressive moves. Right here is where you're going to see it. Let's actually go on board with the 54 here. Ride with him real quick. You see him pushing. The 38 was clear here. A little shocked that the 38 didn't come down. And you'll see here, 54 takes full advantage of it. He's going to dart that thing to the inside real quick. It's a nice run. You got to wonder if Ryan Johnson is going to think twice about that next time he's in front of that 54 truck of Drew. He's going to make sure he gets down a little bit earlier next time. And now it's going to be interesting to see how everything's going to shuffle out after pit stops. Who is going to be your leader now? Got to think it's going to go to some of those trucks that we did see pit early, but sometimes things do change, so we will have to see. This is the only competition caution. It is the only caution that we have had so far tonight. So it looks like it's currently showing Mark Jenkins 1 lap down. Not sure if he already did collect his lucky dog or not. If he didn't, he could still be in good shape here. We'll have to see. Not sure if you can get a lucky dog and a wave around in the same go. But you know what I do want to comment on? You know who I don't see in here tonight that I'm very surprised about, as I was talking about it earlier, is I do not see Ken McCall Jr. in here tonight. I am not sure what happened. Usually see Ken in just about every one of these races. Unfortunately, though, we don't see him tonight. Hopefully we'll see him back next race. You see all these trucks pitting, and I'll tell you what it actually looks like. You saw right there Matt Lee, John Mullihan, some of those trucks that we actually saw pit early. Looks like they're going to pit again. It's a little surprising to see. Usually when you do that, it's a strategy play, but they might have decided that it's going to be so close on fuel, and I'll tell you what it is. So this is what I want everybody to look at. Look up top there on that counter. See how it says lap 17 of 50? That's currently going to leave us with 33 laps to go once they cross this time. The fuel window, as I was telling you earlier, if you are in the pack running, is about, I believe you can do 30 to 31 in the lead and 32, maybe 33 if you're saving really hard in the draft. So keep an eye on this, because we might see these guys top off again, and then they actually would not have to pit. The only thing is we might see a little bit of a fuel mileage race up until about the last 10 laps. That's the only thing that would put a little bit of a damper on. But not much. If you are just tuning in, you're watching the FEG-PC 133 here at Talladega Superspeedway. Taylor Peacock is your current leader. Second is going to go to Matt Lee. Third, Chris Blanchard. Haven't talked a lot about Chris tonight. Chris doing a nice job on that 9 truck. Saw him playing it safe early. He's going to put himself up here. Ryan Johnson, we've seen making some aggressive moves. Started on the pole and it's kept that thing up in the top 5 for the whole race so far. And Drew Ballesteros, who we saw make that very aggressive, very impressive move on the last lap of that little stint. That's going to put him in 4th and 5th. Rounding out your top 5 for the moment is going to be Austin B. Floyd in the 168 truck. I'm getting a little thing here that we may have had another incident with Mark Jenkins. Let's go take a look at what happened here. Let's see here. See Mark just kind of rolling real slow on the apron here. And it looks like he's just going to park that thing. Not really sure what happened here. Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one. Looks like Mark Jenkins just going real slow. Kind of half on the track, half on the apron. Not sure what's happened to Mark tonight. Seems like things have been a little out of characteristic, if you will, for him. But this thing's still a long way from over, as currently it is showing him scored on the lead lap. And with that, that is going to keep all 21 trucks currently on the lead lap. That's going to keep all the action exciting so far. And we're going to take, actually, let's go ahead and trying to take a look. Let's see some of these drivers that didn't benefit so nicely from that. Chad Ross, we've kind of seen him playing it safe. So I do suspect that this is just kind of that strategy play from the Team 3 driver. I think he wants to be back here right now. Derek Fulton, another one of those. I promise you, you will see this driver up there at the end. Derek does paint custom trucks. You actually see it on the side of his truck there. We'll see if we can get a better view for you. Octo Wrap. And if you like the look of that truck, that's just a little taste of what Derek can do when it comes to painting a truck. So if you need any paints done, go check out Derek. Jeff Merck back here now. We saw him fighting for the lead early. Fortunately, lost help at one point, fell to the back. Ambrose Kniebel, as we say, our designated drunk driver. He's out here seeing if he can win himself some money on a Saturday. And then we have this little group of three: Autumn Koger, Christopher McCall, and David Sheets. And that looks like your biggest team in the field tonight. They also have Ron Morse Jr., who is actually just one truck, separated by just one truck. That's Derek. But the McCall Motorsports definitely the biggest team in the field tonight, and we saw pretty good domination from them there in that first little run. We'll see if that changes up to now as they are towards the back. We'll see if they decide to save fuel, try to get up here and run. But the pace car lights are off. He's going to take a hard left into the pits this time. That's going to put the 9 truck of Chris Blanchard leading the inside. However, Taylor Peacock is your leader. That's going to lead him to green. He chose that outside line. And I'll tell you what, I actually like this call from Taylor Peacock. That outside line is the place to be on the backstretch as long as that truck behind you, which is the 54 of Drew, locks up and gets on your bumper. And Drew did a nice job representing that the first run. But he doesn't do it this time. Looks like he actually maybe spins him a little bit. The 17 gets a really good jump, though. He should be able to jump down. He does. Looks like we're getting a word potentially from Judy Jenkins in the chat that Mark may have had some computer issues. Hate to hear that from Mark, but like I said, it looks like currently still on the lead lap. Oh, they're already going to go through wide. You can't do that. Oh, no, the 54. I don't know if he doesn't know he's... Oh, that's going to cost him. Oh, we see one truck going sideways. That's a 21. What a save from the 21 truck. I think that's Landon Hendershot, I do believe. It is. Nice job from the 21 truck. Let's go back and take a look at this one real quick. What a job there from Landon Hendershot to keep that truck straight. It looks like he may have got just a little bit of a bad bump from somebody back here. Here you go. Watch this 21 truck. You see he's got the 27 behind him here. Oh, yeah, 27 just gives him a little bit of an offset. Look at those hands work. Landon Hendershot, nicely done. Keeps that truck clean, keeps himself in contention. Back up front, though, looks like the 54 is currently the lead truck on the outside. Taylor Peacock fell way back after that. That 3-wide move from the 54. That's going to move the 9 of Chris Blanchard to the lead truck on the inside. He's got Matt Lee pushing him. I'm a little surprised. I thought from what I believe that 3-wide rule, which is usually in place, was still in place. So we'll have to see if that 54 gets assigned any penalty or not. I was kind of shocked to see that move. It almost caught me off guard. Like I said, we don't see that usually that early with that rule in effect. But it's not going to matter right now. Chris Blanchard still out front. Matt Lee looks to be content where he is. But let's go back and talk a little bit about some of these drivers that we might see back here. And we are right now in that comfortable fuel window. So I'm not sure how much fuel everybody has, but now would be the time where if you were full tank, you would definitely be good. Take a look from the blimp here. Kind of see the spread, and I think some of these drivers that we do see farther back are just kind of sitting around right now, such as Chad Ross. They might just be saving that fuel. If we get a caution, all fuel saving will, of course, be off. But I'm telling you, some of these drivers, it's not a guarantee, but some of them might be either really close or potentially even able to make it with the fuel they got in their tank right now. However, if you are out here leading, you certainly cannot. So those drivers must have already made up their mind. Because if you are that 9 truck or the 54 right now, you're burning the most fuel leading this big field tonight. 21 trucks to be exact. And I'll tell you what, I'm very pleased to see all of them, including Mark Jenkins, we've seen have some issues. He is by himself at the moment, but he is still on the lead lap. You kind of see on the track map here, that is the main pack as you see him working their way out of turn 2. And you see Mark working his way out of turn 4. So he does still have a decent amount of time. I would say at the absolute least he still has about 10 to 12 laps before he has to worry about going a lap down. We could see a caution before then with some of the racing we are seeing up front right now. Rolls a little bit reversed this time. We saw in that first little stage there, the 38 of Ryan Johnson was leading the 54 who made the move on him. We'll see if this time the 38 can maybe get that 54 out in league and put the move on him. I'll tell you what, while we got the field pretty packed up right here, let's do a little FEG Saturday opener, crank it up at Talladega. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope you guys did enjoy that. One of the exciting things is we should have new camera angles coming in the short future here for Ghost Racing Network. Very excited about that. We'll get you a lot better segments of Crank It Up. But up front, ooh, we see the 54. Just as I was about to say, the 54 does jump down in front of the 9 truck. Drew showing a lot of aggression. The 38 might have kind of pushed him out of the way there. 9 trucks can get to his bumper, though. Try to keep him out in the lead. Got to be careful. Can't push in the turns here. And I think that may have been a little bit of a result of that 38 of Ryan Johnson needing a little bit of fresh air in that outside lane. These trucks can get hot in a hurry. And if you are pushing as hard as you can on that outside line and not making progress, it's a recipe for disaster after a while. But he did get him clear. I think he just need to get that truck cooled down a little bit now. And he's going to see if Austin Floyd and the 17 of Taylor Peacock can get him up there. With what we have seen tonight, the runs from each lane, the general momentum, I would put my money on the inside lane being the place to be. At the end of this race tonight, you actually see in the distance there, we saw Mark Jenkins, who will be the first car to go a lap down at the moment if they catch him. Mark running out of time, hoping for a caution. Don't think he's going to get it. You see how close the gap is there. You see that one truck entering the tribal and then the rest of this pack. But Mark could still be okay as long as he is the only truck a lap down. And it looks like now the 27 is going to jump out in front of Ryan Johnson. I looked like when we were doing that Crank It Up, it looked like that 27 may have had a slight bit of damage on the front of that truck, which would make sense because we did see him give a little bit of an aggressive shot to the 21 of Landon Hendershot earlier. And that could very well be where that little bit of front end damage, kind of see it there, is coming from. But this outside starting to fall apart a bit now as Mark Jenkins is going to move high. Gets up in that third lane, does a nice job making sure he's out of the way of all these leaders. And I'll tell you what, seeing all these drivers line up now makes me wonder about a couple things. Are they good on fuel? Are they just trying to tick some laps off? Or are they thinking about pitting? With as close as the fuel is for these guys, I'm not really sure, I'll be honest. It'll be really, really close. Let's go back a little bit here in this pack. Some of these drivers that are sitting single file towards back. Let's go through the field from the back. Mark Jenkins, we see here, he is going to drop in line. All he's got to do is try to avoid any wreck that might happen here to get his lap back. Chad Ross. Chad's just been kind of playing it safe so far tonight. We'll see if he goes to the front later. Derek Fulton, same strategy as Chad Ross, playing it safe. Landon Hendershot, who we saw definitely has my vote for save of the day. Got turned off the bumper. The 27 kept it together, kept that truck clean. As we see a little 3-wide racing back here for the moment. Jimmy Socks falling back. He's been up and back so far today. Ambrose Kniebel kind of been sitting towards the back. See some aggression later. Ambrose. And then we see drivers such as Autumn Koger, Christopher McCall, David Sheets, and Ron Morse Jr. That is 4 in a like 4 all stacked together, if you will. McCall Motorsports drivers. So they're getting ready to pounce. If they pit, they'll be good together. If they decide to go to the front, it'll be 4 of them. They'll also be good to go to the front together. But up front is still all that 54 truck with Drew Ballesteros. Looks like the 27 still staying committed to the outside. Unfortunately, just doesn't have any help. 168 of Austin Floyd is going to jump back to the top lane, though, now. Let's see if he can help him. We did put a poll up earlier, which we'll go ahead and end now, about if you guys thought this would go green the rest of the way. It looks like the majority of you did say no. And I might agree with that, as I think once we hit 10-5 to go, this thing is going to get crazy. If you're just tuning in, I thank you for being here. This is the FEG-PC 133. Most of you already know that, though. You're watching the Green Ghost on Ghost Racing Network. It's a big race for some of these drivers tonight. We do have some new drivers in here, veterans. Got the mix tonight. We'll have some announcements to go over later. But I do look to see a lot of positive for FEG this 2023 year. Jeff introducing a couple new formats. And then I've heard a lot of positive feedback of that idea with the PC that Jeff will be following through on at the end of the year. I think that's going to make a lot of these guys more competitive than they've ever been before. And one of these drivers, we haven't talked about him too much tonight, but he's always in the picture. And even when he doesn't have teammates up here, he's still dangerous, and that's going to be Matt Lee in the 04 truck. He's just been sitting here, not really making much noise, just sitting in third riding. And I think that's because he's just saving some fuel, biding his time. But up top now, we see Austin Floyd being pushed by Mark Jenkins. And no matter how you look at it, Mark's going to make these guys race because he wants his lap back. If you're one of these trucks such as Austin Floyd, you got to like that because he might help you get to the front. Looks like Mark Jenkins does have the 71, who also looks like he has a little bit of front end damage. That's Derek behind him. Derek Raleigh. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, but that's going to draw the 27 up top too. And some of these drivers you are seeing in the top lane are some of the ones we've kind of seen that continue to try the top lane. Actually, the 27 is going to go 3 wide. That's going to ruin the momentum of that middle lane. Mark Jenkins washes up just a little bit. And this is where we kind of split that strategy, and you kind of see the mindset of some of these veterans or some of the potential rookies or guys that we don't see in here as much. Some of these veterans are staying in line right now, saving every drop of fuel. They know they're going to need it with 19 to go here. They're already really close on fuel, but if you can make it on fuel, you're already putting yourself, and if I had to guess, in a guaranteed top 15, maybe even top 10 scenario. And with top 6 payout, the less drivers you have to beat, the better. Seen a couple different winners so far. Like I said, we did have that race on Wednesday, which was won by Autumn Koger. And then we had the race on Friday, which I believe was won. I actually don't know if I saw exactly who it was won by. I feel like it might have been Matthew Baker. Not sure though. That race was streamed over on OSRN, so not 100% on it. We have also seen some patience here in this last run from this 9 truck of Chris Blanchard. Just as I say that, looks like he actually gets on the apron. Keeps himself together though, no problems there. That outside line, 71, Derek and Austin Floyd trying to get up here. They just can't do it. But with the 54 leading pretty much this whole run so far, I don't think he is looking too good on fuel. Ooh, we see John Mullahan, the 22, wiggle up there just a little bit. No contact made, no harm, no foul. Let's actually ride on board here with John Mullahan. See him working that wheel, a little bit of a check up there. You hear him burp the throttle. And that's kind of important there. Listen to how much out of the throttle he can be there. Ooh, and we see the 54 now falling back. This might be a fuel play as the 71 now taking it 3 wide. He's got Austin Floyd still behind him. I think that 54 might have realized his fuel wasn't looking too good. He did not want to be the leader anymore. That is going to shuffle Chris Blanchard for the number 1 spot in the 9 truck. Chris, your new leader. We have seen quite the mix so far, but we haven't seen the race on yet. There's always a race. It doesn't matter how many competition cautions you throw in. It doesn't matter if the race is 1,000 laps. The real race will never begin until we hit about 10 laps to go. All these guys start feeling the money. They can smell it. Like sharks in the water when they smell blood. These guys will start going after it. And if you can, I'll tell you what, if you start winning a lot of these, you're doing yourself a double favor. Because you're not only winning yourself a lot of money, but you're also putting yourself higher and higher up on that leaderboard for that new PC. But putting that thought on pause, what I want to talk about here is, let's go to a broader view here. Let's take a look at this. Look how long this line is. And you're seeing quite a bit of separation right now in between all these drivers. It's almost like little scattered packs of 2, 3, 4. And I got to believe this is a big part of that fuel mileage. Let's take a look if we can here. It's right on board here with Autumn Koger. Let's just take a listen here. And you heard it there, and then listen to this truck, the 9 truck of Chris Blanchard, who is leading the line. I'm not sure how well you guys can hear it, but what you can notice there is the first truck we looked at, which was Autumn Koger on the 4 truck, she does not have to run full throttle. She's only running at most, from what it sounded like to me, about 3/4 throttle. And a lot of times she was actually out of the throttle. So she is saving a lot more fuel than this 9 truck of Chris Blanchard, who is full throttle the whole time. That is the power of the draft at these super speedways. But one thing to notice, this outside line led by the 71 of Derek Raleigh, he has made his way up to the front, being pushed by, I believe, yeah, that's Austin Floyd. Talked about his paint scheme earlier, but Austin doing a really nice job up here. The 71, if he gets clear, he would gladly drop down. He does not seem to be too worried about fuel. He wants to race. Safest place to be if there is a wreck is the leader. Usually have the least chance of being involved in the wreck itself. But Matt Lee now is going to fight back. I think Matt Lee is pretty content with where he is. I think he's probably looking pretty good on fuel. And he wants to maintain that position, so when it's time to go, that's less trucks he's going to have to try to pass. But we'll see this outside still hanging really strong. 3 trucks on the outside, but that is all you really need. Doing a very nice job. Still looking a little bit back here. It looks like Mark Jenkins, who we do see, it looks like is currently a lap down from what I could see. Mark's still looking for the caution. Yep, Mark is a lap down. Chad Ross still sitting back here. Landon Hendershot, who we saw showing a little bit of aggression early. You see a little bit of damage to the back of that truck. That was from that contact with the 27 truck. Landon playing conservative right now. Jimmy Sox, Ambrose Kniebel, Jeff Merck. Haven't talked a lot about Jeff so far tonight. Let's give Jeff a shout out. Talked about him earlier. He did get himself to the front. Trying to race for the lead. Unfortunately, he did lose his help after a little while and fell back. Ron Morris Jr. Ron's got some big events coming up. Talk about some of those later, but we can't take our eyes off the action as we're going to be coming to 11 to go this next time. The intensity is starting to pick up just a little bit. It will be interesting to see how it all plays out, as what we might see is a mix of racing and then guys that have to try to peel off the pit road. And that could be an issue waiting to happen. And that's why I think if I'm one of these drivers in the back, as soon as I think I'm good on fuel, I'm going. But look at the pack separation that we're starting to see here. It's not big. They are still within reach of the draft. You can kind of see earlier when we looked at this track map, which is kind of on your top right here. It was a lot tighter, those dots. Those dots were a lot closer together. They're a little bit more spread out now, and you can actually see it here on the TV. Let's go to the blimp cam again. I feel like that's pretty much the best view. And look at the separation here. And after that double file racing, all these drivers you see single file, those are drivers trying to make it on fuel. But I think some of them might think they're good on fuel now, as we see Ryan Johnson, one of the guys he's worked well with so far today, to 54. That's Drew Ballesteros. They're going to the outside now. Taylor Peacock looked to the outside for a minute but falls back now. He's got Ron Morris Jr. behind him, David Sheets. And just as we talked about earlier, look who is starting to slowly but surely creep their way up through the field, now up to 13th. That's going to be Derek Fulton in the 7 truck. Just slowly picking them off, creeping. Remember, top 6 do get paid out. I know initially it was also a random driver outside of the top 6 would get paid out. I'm not sure if that changes with the scale payout or if it does stay the same. But Jeff doing a nice job changing up the format, giving everybody a chance. So even if you do have a bad break here at the end, your night gets ruined, you still got a chance at something. We are really seeing some spreading out of this pack, but just as I say that, look towards the back here, I saw Autumn Koger, and I actually saw someone jump in front of her. Might have been Derek Fulton. Nope, Derek stays low. That's Ron Morris Jr., David Sheet, her 2 teammates. They're going to jump in front of her, followed by Chad Ross. So they're starting to go now, this outside line. You're going to see these guys start making a lot of time up real quick. I think they decided it's time to go. They must think they're good on fuel or they're not going to make it. I'm thinking they might think they're good on fuel. And they're going to go try to get racy towards the front. That's going to push Matt Lee. Let's go back up front here. Matt Lee's going to jump to the outside. Looks like the 57. Jay does not go with him, but he's going to get help anyway from the 71. Matt Lee must know he's good on. Oh, the 71's going to get turned into the wall. Oh, and in the back, Ron Morris loses it. Oh, they're wrecking. No caution yet. They're wrecking big time on the backstretch. Now the caution finally comes out. Taylor Peacock's in. Oh, hard hit. That's the 99 of Mark Jenkins. He's in it. People have spoken. We didn't think it would go green the rest of the way, and it didn't. And any sort of civility that we saw, that is going to go out the window now. And if you're Chris Blanchard, you're going to have to pit, but you might be in a lot better of a position than you originally were going to be. But first, let's go back and take a look here. What happened under this caution? It looked like it started with the 71. Couldn't tell, but let's go take a look here. We're going to look. This is Derek. Yeah, you see him. He's already sideways here. Actually, let's get a better view, though. We'll go to TV1, and we're going to back it up a little bit. And you know what? For the start of this, let's actually go to chopper view. So this is the 27. Take a look at these two, this yellow truck on the outside and the 71. Roll it slow. You see the 27 here. Gets to the bumper of the 71. A little bit of a stack up here. He is going to start to jump to the outside. That checkup happens. Oh, and he's going to tag the 71 in the right rear. 71 hits this outside wall hard. But it almost looks like he keeps it together here. Does a nice job, actually. But then in the back here, unfortunately, just kind of stacking up, trying to avoid it. They're going to wreck. So let's take a look at where the rest of this started to happen, which looks like Ron Morris Jr. and David Sheets. They're trying to go around him. Unfortunately, it looks like they might have got collected. Let's see here. Let's take a look at. Looking for Ron right now. Can't seem to find. There he is. So 76 truck. You see the 06. I think they're both going to try to squeak by right here. You see David gets to the outside, so they're 4 wide now. Ron, just a little bit of contact between those two. They're going to go up in the inside. Yep, bouncing off each other. Those are teammates. Ron Morris is going to spin now. Down to the inside. Oh, he's going to collect the 17, Taylor Peacock. And the 76 comes off the ground. So does the 94. That's a huge crash for Christopher McCall. And then we see kind of chaos ensue. The 94, you see him down there. He hits that inside wall hard. That's going to be a lot of damage to the rear of this truck. And then take a look at Taylor Peacock here. This is a little while afterwards. Slides back up onto the track. That is what is going to bring out the caution. Oh, and it was actually Chad Ross and Mark Jenkins who got together. So we'll go back live here. But a couple things to talk about with that was Mark Jenkins would have been the lucky dog. Unfortunately, when you get in the wreck at all, any contact, it takes away that lucky dog and we give it to the next driver. So I believe Mark will stay at least 1 down, potentially going 2, and that is going to make some of these drivers have to use their faster pair. When we go green, I believe it might be 5 to go. I don't think we're going to go green this time. Let's see if we can get a closer view. Check out those pace car lights. Here's a good indication. Yep, pace car lights still on. So it's looking like we are going to go green with 5 to go. And we know the saying, cautions do bring cautions. And with this grouping up the field and giving everybody a chance, takes fuel mileage out of it. We're going to see the intensity picking up. But Matt Lee is going to be your new leader, followed by Jay in the 57 on the outside. It looks like John Mullahan third currently. Fourth is Ryan Johnson. And fifth is going to be Casey with 27 truck. Casey kind of reminds me of what I had a couple incidents with the other night. Just a little bit of misjudgments, nothing intentional, just racing, but kind of unfortunate. Got into a couple guys so far tonight. Still looking, though, to complete his run. I'll tell you what, though, while these guys are under caution, let's take a break real quick to go over here. One of the announcements I want to talk about, the bigger event that I know of that we do have coming up is on Tuesday. Ron Morris Racing, the Discord. If you need any info on it, just feel free to contact me. We can get you in there. But the warm-up to the prelude, if you don't know what the prelude is, you'll see it kind of slide down there in that poster towards the bottom. One of the big events put on by Ron Morris Jr. currently does have 2 sponsors that I know of, the North Carolina 811 and Butt Kicker. And that's going to be a big race. But this is going to be the prelude to that, the warm-up, if you will, to the warm-up, or the warm-up to the prelude, rather. And look at these payouts based on 30 cars, based on 40 cars. And you see that entry to the prelude, if we get 40 cars, that's a pretty good prize. That race will be on Tuesday at 8:45. The server will open. $25 entry, not bad, especially when you look at those prices. So get yourself involved in that. But also FEG will be having a race this Monday. Cheaper entry fee, still good payout. That's another one to go check out. That's all the announcements that we do have. For now, let's go back live, though. We're up front. Matt Lee almost looks like he's saving fuel still. He may not have pit. Wouldn't be too shocking, as he probably wanted to keep the lead, whereas the 9 of Chris Blanchard did have to pit. He was out there leading the whole time. So it looks like we actually have a couple trucks a lap down now, if not multiple. Mark Jenkins, it looks like, is currently 3 laps down, unfortunately. Probably going to end Mark's day. Derek is not currently on track, from what I can see. Chad Ross looks like is currently 1 lap down. He is the first truck a lap down at the moment. And Autumn Koger is your last truck on the lead lap. So, I'll tell you what, one of these drivers, such as Matt Lee, he is not wanting to see a lot of cautions for the rest of this thing because he wants to make sure he's good on fuel. Maybe I should rephrase that. He doesn't want to see a lot of overtimes. He wouldn't mind seeing a couple cautions. But we just don't have enough time. If we did have another caution, we're going to go into overtime. But Matt Lee is going to have the 22 of John Mullahan to his outside. And let's give Jay a shout out. Had some issues in the heat race. Had to start at the back of this. But here he is with 5 to go. He's going to be starting right behind the 04. And that's going to be Matt Lee's best friend right now. Matt Lee's saying, hey, man, push me with everything you got right here. I can handle it. This is where it comes down to willpower. These trucks, you still got to be careful with 5 laps. You could still overheat. So you might not see these guys give it everything they have towards the front. But towards the back, we're going to see some 3-wide action real quick as the 3-wide rule is off. Ryan Johnson going to be pushing John Mullahan. Green flag is back out. Matt Lee takes it. The 57, though, doesn't get the best jump. Neither does the 38. John Mullahan, however, he's going to get side by side with Matt Lee for the moment. Ooh, and this is going to be a drag race. Both lanes looks like they're lining up nicely. 38, though, is going to be the first one there. We'll see if he can get enough momentum to clear Matt Lee. If he does, I promise you he will drop low. They do. They have the run. You see the inside, not to the bumper yet. Oh, but John Mullahan couldn't quite stay lined up. He's not going to be able to get clear now. Matt Lee fighting back on the inside. Looks like Mullahan is going to drop down. And, wow, we went 3 wide, about 4 rows deep within a split second. That was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. To the outside, though, now leading it is Derek Fulton. We told you he'd be up here late. Here he is. Middle lane, Ryan Johnson. Down low, John Mullahan being pushed by Matt Lee. That outside line, Derek Fulton, generated a lot of momentum in a hurry. But now it's the middle lane prevailing. Ryan Johnson, if he can drop down, you got to wonder if he was being pushed by the 54. Drew Ballestero. We come to 4 to go. Ooh, you see John Mullihan's truck dancing around a little bit. Matt Lee is pushing with everything he's got right now. I know Matt Lee wants to get clear. If he does, he will jump up. There's nowhere to go right now. Oh, it looks like a little contact in the back. And they're spinning Austin B. Floyd's wreck in the 17. Huge hit. That's Taylor Peacock. Caution is out. And this is going to end the day potentially for Taylor Peacock. Austin Floyd gets it rolling again. Second caution that was not competition of the night. And let's go back and take a look at what set up this caution here. It looked like, 17 of Taylor Peacock. You actually see the 999 of Mark Jenkins here, who was currently 3 laps down. Just racing in the pack here, trying to maybe get a caution, maybe get something back, trying to make a better day out of a bad one. You're going to see here, it looks like he's going to actually wash up just a little bit right here. Yep, you see him kind of coming off. Taylor Peacock, maybe just a slight bit down, but I'm going to say the 999 kind of coming up on that one. You see Taylor comes up, and actually a little bit of net code there between him and the 168. And Taylor's just doing everything he can to save it. Can't quite. And I'll tell you, that looked like more net code here. Let's back this up a little bit. So you see it. Oh, and I can't quite tell if they touch or not. They definitely probably would have, but that's where the contact's going to start. 168 now spinning. Taylor Peacock's going to hit him, and then the one of Jimmy Sox slams into the back of Taylor Peacock. All 4 tires almost off the ground for a second, so that's a hard hit for Taylor. You see Austin Floyd locking it down now, but unfortunately the damage is done at this point. Taylor Peacock already used his fast part earlier, so that might end the night for him as he did have to tow. What I do want to take a look at, though, just before we do go back live, is let's take a look at the cockpit view here of Taylor Peacock, who we saw working it. And I'll tell you what, it's just so hard to save these trucks, man. You try everything you can. Nothing Taylor did wrong here. Was almost a well of a save, if you will. Fortunately, just couldn't. Let's see here. All right, watch his hands here. We'll start it actually where the 99 first comes up. Watch his hands here. Just not much he can do. And actually, we'll take one more look here. The 168. But as I was saying there, I think if Taylor had the whole track, he easily saves that. Just one of those things that's just hard to do here. I want to take one more look. The chopper views, it looks like Frank is saying there was no contact. It did look like netcode initially. That was what I was kind of looking at. But sometimes if I see netcode that's really close, it usually means that what they actually had was contact. The 99 and the 17 is contact, no doubt. And you see Taylor washes up here initially. It looks like a little bit of netcode right there. You kind of see the little crumple. It uncrumples. And then, yep, that looks like more netcode actually. That's what happens when iRacing thinks they're going to wreck, but they don't. Looks like Austin B. Floyd, though, has got it rolling again. He's going to catch the back of this pack. Not sure if he went a lap down just yet. It doesn't look like he did. I think your free pass, yep, looks like it is going to go to Chad Ross from Team 3. So he's going to have a chance at this thing now. Let's go back up front, though, to your current leaders. John Mullihan, Team 3 driver, looking for his teammate who is on the opposite side of the track right now. Chad Ross, who just got the lucky dog. SimCar owner. SimCar, by the way, does host races on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Go check those guys out. But he is currently leading the field. He's got to feel pretty good. Ryan Johnson, another driver that's got to be feeling pretty good. He stayed up here all day. For someone that I have personally not seen in here before, I'm very impressed with what I've seen out of the 38 truck tonight. Derek Fulton, who we saw leading that third lane, he's got himself up here in third now. He's going to be pushing leader of that inside line. Matt Lee actually might be the third truck. It's hard to tell, but Matt Lee looks like third. So Derek Fulton actually fourth. Then rounding out the top 5 for the moment, looks like is going to be Drew Ballesteros. And then not too far back, we see the first McCall Motorsports driver, Christopher McCall. And Ambrose Kniebel in 10th right now. Starting to creep into the picture as well. If you're just tuning in, we're about to have a classic overtime shootout here on the Saturday opener for the FEG-PC Money Racing Series. We've had pretty good racing action so far tonight. We'll give a quick recap. We had the 2 heat races to set the field and qualifying. That's a new format that we've been trying out. And then we came over here for the main race. Our first caution was the competition caution, which did fall on lap 15. Everybody did go into the pits, and then we had, it looked like it might have been a fuel-saving race to the finish, and just as we saw the action starting to pick up, we had our second caution of the night. It looked like it was the 27, just giving a little bit of a bad push on a checkup for the 71, and what the caution that we currently have now is the second non-competition caution so far of the night, third total caution. There was an incident that started with Mark Jenkins just coming up the track a little bit. He tapped Taylor Peacock, who almost saved it, and then he net-coded with the 168. Caused another pretty good pileup. But one thing I will say, we have not seen the big one yet tonight. Looks like the 71 is currently out. It looks like we do have 16 trucks currently on the lead lap. And like I was saying, I don't think we've seen the big wreck just yet. I think we might have one more caution. Still good payouts tonight. Top 6. So I would say if you're anyone in that top 16, you got yourself a chance. 2 laps to go. If they take the white, we will see no more cautions. If they get a yellow before then, we'll rack them up and do it again. You got to feel good if you're either one of these trucks. Actually, no, I want to retract the statement. I take that. If you are John Mullihan, got to be a little bit worried about Matt Lee behind you. Hoping Matt pushes John, tries to get him clear. That's option 1, but option 2 is Matt Lee jumps to that outside, gets help from the 9 and the 94, and that puts John Mullihan in the middle to fall all the way to the back. Looks like we got a come on Landon in the chat. Let's take a look real quick before we go green. If I can find Landon in time. I can't quite find him yet. Yep, looks like Landon is back in 14th. Saw Landon have a great save earlier. A little bit of damage to the back of that truck, but he's got himself a shot at this. Back up front, though, pace car is going to pull off. We're gearing up for an overtime finish here at Talladega Superspeedway. The 38, Ryan Johnson, he's been strong all night. The 22, though, is going to be leading him to green. Green flag is back out. Looks like both lanes get a really nice start. Derek Fulton and Matt Lee on the bumper. And 3 wide from Mark Jenkins here. I almost got a little confused on that. Not sure if he did that legally or not. We'll have to see, but that's going to make some things awkward here. Oh, he's kind of blocking here. They got to be careful. Outside falling apart. The 38, though, now pushing that 999 truck of Mark Jenkins, who is currently laps down. Maybe going to use him as a pick here. 38 with nowhere to go. Neither is Derek Fulton. I don't think these guys are going to make it back around right now with what I'm seeing. 3 wide. Oh, and the 99's going to spin. It's going to collect all of them. It's a big wreck. It's the big one. We were waiting for it. The 60's in it. A bunch of these guys are in it. I really didn't like what I saw there, but unfortunately as the broadcaster, I got to be very limited on how I speculate. But anyone that's watching, you saw what happened there, and I promise you, if you're in the Discord, we're going to see some fireworks post-race. Let's go back and take a look at this one. Let's go to where this started, which was Mark Jenkins, I do believe. Yep, so Mark Jenkins currently multiple laps down. Let's actually, let's go back even farther, if you will, because I want to actually see what he did on this restart to get such a big jump. I do believe here in FEG, as long as you go to the outside, you can shift lanes before you get to the start-finish line. And so you see Mark here. Let's go to TV1, just kind of follow him. So you can see him gas it up here. It just goes right around the entire field. Kind of reminds me of what Kyle Busch did at Daytona way back. You see him drop down. Gotta believe that might have scared John Mullihan. The 38 truck a little bit here. Oh, we'll fast forward it here a little bit. 38's pushing that 999. He's trying to get him clear. I know that 38 wants to get up high. Derek Fulton kind of starting to get out of whack, and this is where it's going to start to get a little dicey here. See what happens. 38 still on the bumper. Not quite, actually. Pretty close. It looks like he might actually get to the bumper, though, here to turn 3 on Mark Jenkins. Oh, he goes below the apron here a little bit and just hooks 999 truck turns him around. 38 spins, 7. Derek Fulton, is he going to get through it? No, unfortunately, he's also going to get collected in it. 57 is going to pile in. Looks like the 99 actually gets away. With minimal damage, all things considered. Actually, and let's go back. I didn't quite see because I was trying to find Ryan here. Ryan Johnson, I think, may have gotten the worst of this here. He's doing so good all night. I hate to see that for that 38 truck. So you see he gets hit here by the 54. Another strong truck tonight. 57. 27 piles in hard. 60 Jeff Merck, and this is where they're just all piling up. The track's pretty much blocked at this point. Take a look in the top right there, though. The 06 of David Sheets doing a pretty nice job. Looks like he may have touched the wall. A little bit on the top. It didn't look too bad. And that is what causes your 4th caution of the night. Like I said, gotta believe Discord. Some of these drivers not too happy with the move that 999 truck made. I'm not really sure exactly what went on, though. We'll hear about it later, get an update on that. This is going to set us up for our 2nd overtime, and I got to believe Matt Lee, maybe not the biggest fan of this, as the more laps we run, the harder it's going to be for him to make it on fuel. Landon Hendershot got through that. This moves him up to 9th place. Current leader, though, as it sits now, looks like it's going to be John Mullahan currently at the leader. Not sure if he's saving, followed by Matt Lee, Chris Blanchard, Christopher McCall. There you go. McCall Motorsports driver. He's made himself up in the top 5. I am a McCall Motorsports driver when I do race in these. So I do apologize if I seem a little partial to them. And then Ambrose Kniebel. Yes, sir. This is another driver I'm glad to see up here. Ambrose doing a nice job. He's got himself in a money position right now. And Autumn Koger rounding out the final money spot right now. She does have teammate David Sheets behind her. And another driver looking to pounce on the money is Landon Hendershot. Chad Ross. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the drivers that we do see in the top 10 now, we didn't really see for this last run up until this point, that is. Now they're back up here, and it looks like Frank Ranger says that's crazy. I'd be so mad. Was not a black flag for jumping green. And you know what, Frank? I'm going to completely agree with you, man. I feel the same way. Especially if I was that 38 truck. He had the best view in the house. But it's unfortunate. He probably is. And it looks like you can see it on that ticker on the left right there. We can take a look at the drivers that are out. It looks like, I think that's, I want to make sure yeah, it's Derek in the 71 truck. He's out. Taylor Peacock might be out. Jimmy Sox, Ron Morris Jr. Mark Jenkins, it looks like, is out. Not sure if that was by choice or if that was by the boys up in race control. We'll have to find out later. I know Mark probably trying, though. You know, I've been in his shoes before. Sometimes in these races, you think there's a way. Mark trying everything he can, giving 100%. Finds himself in one of those times that it wasn't probably the best time to be trying that. But he certainly tried it. Anyway, Jared Miller is rooting for Ambrose Kniebel, and I'll tell you what, that's going to be the guy I root for here. But if I had to pick one that I think's going to win it, I'm really liking that 04 truck right now of Matt Lee. And it is a little weird here seeing the 04 and then another truck and then another 04. But that's what custom numbers can do. It's a lot cooler, though, to see all these guys' sponsors and beautiful paint schemes that they put on the trucks rather than seeing those bland green, red, and blue schemes that you see without the custom numbers on. So John Mullahan's going to have Christopher McCall behind him as his pusher. And Matt Lee's going to have Chris Blanchard, rather, pushing him. Ambrose Kniebel third on that inside, and Autumn Koger third on the outside. We're going to try overtime again here. Pace car pulls off. Same rules here. If we make it to the white, no caution. We'll see if anyone gets a crazy jump this time. We'll go a little bit more widescreen. Matt Lee takes the green. Oh, the 94 doesn't get the best start, but John Mullahan looks like he got shot out of a cannon. He's going to get clear low. Ooh, but John Mullahan's going to be a sit and duck here on the backstretch. Matt Lee going to make a move as long as he knows he's going to have help behind him. Christopher McCall staying high. He's looking for his teammate Autumn Koger to get to him. Ambrose Kniebel still holding the bottom. Now we see Jeff Merck on the top lane. He's going to get a little bit of help. Draws a couple trucks. Ryan Johnson, one of those. Oh, now he's going to lose it. John Mullahan still being pushed. The 9 now jumps out. That's Chris Blanchard. He gets help. Oh, they're wrecking in the back. 38's in the wall hard. Looks like he keeps it together. They keep it off the racing surface for the moment. We're still green. Derek Fulton was in that. Up top, though, here comes the run from the 9 truck. Chris Blanchard, John Mullahan still leading the bottom. Matt Lee trapped. He's got nowhere to go. Christopher McCall has Autumn Koger behind him. We'll see if they decide 3 wide. Ooh, Ambrose wiggles to the middle. Looks like he keeps it together. Back down low. That's going to mess up the momentum for the inside. White flag. No more cautions. A 54 wrecks hard into the wall. He's going to take out a bunch of them. Back up front, we're still green. The 9 being pushed by the 94. Christopher McCall doing a really good job on the bumper right now. Down the back for the final time, side by side. Nobody giving an inch. Oh, the 9's going to get split 3 wide. That's going to give the momentum to the bottom. We'll see if Matt Lee now can make a move. Working their way into turn 3. Christopher McCall is going to have to drop his teammate Autumn Koger to get to that middle lane if he wants any chance of getting some momentum going. We'll see if Ambrose Kniebel or any other drivers jump up top. Yes, the 04 Ambrose Kniebel, he's going to jump up top now. We'll see if he's got anything here coming to the line. Oh, but he's going to get taken 3 wide by David Sheets into the tribal for the final time. Ambrose still side by side. Oh, they're wiggling. They're wrecking. Up front, though, it's going to be John Mullahan who wins at Talladega on the season opener. John Mullahan gets it done. And I think he is going to owe Matt Lee a favor on that one. Matt Lee stayed about as patient and loyal as I have seen in a long, long time. Impressive showing there. John Mullahan only had one other teammate tonight. That was his teammate Chad Ross, who we saw get involved in that last wreck. And we're going to have to break it all down. But first, we're going to go see if we can find your top 3 for interviews. Well, John Mullahan comes down here. We'll see if he decides to burn it out. Sometimes we've seen these guys just park it. That's what he's going to do. That's a shame, man. I like seeing the burnouts. Come on, John, burn it down. Looks like he is just going to park it, though. Let me go check real quick before I actually leave you guys to see if we have top 3 anywhere to be found. But before we do that, let's go ahead and hide this. Let's go over your results. We might as well while we wait. That is Heat 2. Sorry, let me switch it over to race. The rest of the guys making their way through now. And as you saw there, bringing home first tonight is going to be John Mullahan getting it done for Team 3. Second, Ambrose Kniebel. And that cannot be correct unless, because we saw Matt Lee. Unless Matt Lee was a lap down, and I may have missed this. Nope, it's showing it for me, so I'm not sure what it was showing, but it looks like it's actually going to be first John Mullahan, second Matt Lee, third Ambrose Kniebel, fourth David Sheets, fifth Landon Hendershot, sixth Autumn Koger, seventh Chris Blanchard, eighth Christopher McCall, ninth Derek Fulton, and rounding out the top 10 is going to be Ryan Johnson, 11th Drew Ballesteros, 12 is going to be Casey Solich, 13th Chad Ross, 14th Jeff D. Merck, 15th is going to be Jay, 16th Austin Floyd, 17th Mark Jenkins, 18th Ron Morris Jr., 19th is going to be Jimmy Sox. And let me move this over as I just realized you guys can't see quite all of it. We did have 21 trucks in the field tonight. 19th Jimmy Sox, 20th Taylor Peacock, 21st is going to be Derek Raleigh rounding out the field. So before we do anything else, let's go find your top 3 here for some interviews. I'll be right back. All right, I am here with your third place finisher, Ambrose Knievel. Ambrose, I'll tell you what, man, you had a lot of people cheering for you in the chat, and you looked really good on that last lap. I thought maybe you had a chance at the win. Didn't look like you got enough help, though. There you got taken 3 wide, but you still brought home third. How'd you do it, man?
Well, you know what? I was just gonna ride in the back until it was 5 to go, and um, I knew I'd have a little bit of help, but apparently I didn't have enough. So it's all good. I mean, you know, it's all about having friends out there, right? And I did the best I could all by myself, and it was a great race, actually.
It was a great race, and I'll
I
tell you what, if you had as many friends out there as you had in the chat, I think you'd be sweeping every one of these races. But one thing I do want to talk about real quick is starting out 2023, we have seen you getting money in quite a few of these so far, man. What's the change? You're dominating some of these.
It's luck. I mean, honestly, it's luck. I haven't changed anything. I mean, I race like I do. Uh, I think the biggest thing that has changed is your broadcasting, and that's really brought me to my peak.
Well, I'm glad I can help you there, man. But before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yes, I would like to thank uh, Alive and Running Iowa. That's the my actual sponsors. I'm not running their truck tonight, but I still love them. That's suicide prevention and uh, foundation.
All right.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. Continue.
I'd like to also enjoy Miller Lite and Marlboro.
All right. Well,
Uh,
I'll tell you what, Ambrose, we do have to get to some other people, but I think you just gave me one of the best interviews I've had since I've been broadcasting. So thank you
no,
for that.
listen. So listen. So I'm pretty deep into the beer. Love you, man.
All right. Love you, man. I'll see you next race. That was your third place finisher, Ambrose Knievel. We're going to let him go here for a moment. We're going to go find your top two. Just give me just 1 second here. And I will tell you what. Let's go find Matt Lee. I'm going to go hop back over to, if I can find it here, the interview waiting room if you want to hop back over there. There he is. Well, guys, before we start this, I got to let you know Ambrose just gave one of the greatest interviews of all time, so good luck topping it. But here tonight, first, we're going to go with your second place finisher, which is Matt Lee. Matt, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Matt, I'll tell you what, I have seen you race for a little while, and I have not seen you stay that patient in terms of you looked like you stuck to John throughout those last 2 laps, and there was a couple times where I thought for sure you would make a move, but you stayed loyal to his bumper, and you came home second. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I was pretty committed to him. Like, we were really tight on field there, and if I pulled out, I don't know if I was gonna make it back around leading both laps. So I know John had a little bit more than me there, and decided to work with him at the beginning of the night, and kind of working with some different guys, and had a lot of fun pushing him to a win. It's been a blast hanging out with some different people lately, and yeah.
Well, even if you were tight on field, you still got a nice finish of second. But before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just big shout out to John and Ray for being patient in the middle of the race there. Knowing we were saving fuel and having it play out really well there. It sucks what happened on that previous green white checker, but man, that was a lot of fun racing up there.
All right, man. Well, congrats again on that second place finish. We'll see you next race.
Thanks, Austin.
Yep. And now your race winner. Good start to the weekend opener for John Mullihan. John, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you here loud and clear, Austin.
All right, John. Well, I don't know what to say, man. You blew me out of the water tonight. You only had one other teammate. Unfortunately, you guys could not find each other all race. and you still managed to find yourself here in victory lane. How'd you get it done tonight?
Oh, I mean, I'll go right off the bat and say it, man. Couldn't have done it without Matt Lee. Probably wouldn't even been up front. He was committed to me all night long, and we had an excellent strategy, and it put us in the right spot at the right time.
Well, you guys definitely worked really good together there at the end when it mattered most. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Big shout out first and foremost to Matt Lee, all the guys on Team 3, Josh Bonwell, all the guys over at SimCar, Austin over at Ghost Racing Network, Jeff Ford for putting this thing on, and looking forward to the next one, fellas.
All right. Thank you, man. And yes, guys, don't forget, Josh Mullahan, your winner tonight, is one of the co-owners of SimCar. Go check them out. Races Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I do believe. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
That is going to wrap it up for your top 3 tonight. Let's go back, though. We still got a couple things to cover. Let's go back and take a look at this last lap because it got pretty wild. Let's go back first. Let's go all the way back here to the white flag because this is where it's all going to start. And I do apologize for little Discord pings. Have to mute that for next time. Just when you think one of your Discords is going to stay pretty civil, they start spamming. So what can you do? Let's see here. Let's take a look at John Mullahan here. This is coming to the white flag. Everything was still pretty civilized at this moment. And we will go to TV3 here. Let's watch. 9 and 94 pretty linked up. I thought they were actually going to have a momentum. See that contact in the back there. A lot of these guys have that rock. Still pretty organized here. We're going to see them wreck again. Move off. Call to make a run here. Actually, no, they do not recommend that. Working their way into 3 here. Matt Lee stays tucked down low. I just realized how loud that was. I do apologize. But you see at this point, Matt Lee just committed. Ambrose Knievel jumps out. I thought David Sheets actually was going to push Ambrose, but he knew he had a teammate behind him, so he jumps out. Ambrose washes up just a little bit. Contact in the back, spins the 94 out. Autumn Koger can't get through it. And Matt Lee stays right behind the 22 all the way to the line, and that is how it ends. Couple quick announcements before we go. The first one being, don't forget, we talked about it earlier, though. Ron Morris Racing is having a race this coming Tuesday. It's going to be the warm-up to the Prelude, one of the biggest races in sim racing for Ron Morris Racing of the year. Get yourself in at $25 entry, 100% fuel, 40 laps. Server opens at 8:45. Get yourself in that. FEG also does have a race Monday night rather. It's a cheaper entry fee. You see it sliding down the bottom, $14 entry, but still $350 worth of payouts. Go check that out. I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Again, I know we had those technical difficulties at the beginning where we did have to switch lobbies, as unfortunately iRacing was giving Jeff some problems tonight, but he got it all worked out. If you or someone you know are looking for a broadcaster for any league, race, or event, please let me know on Discord. I'm looking to find some jobs to get in. I like doing this, man. It's fun. So we'll keep at it. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. That's all from me, the Green Ghost at Ghost Racing Network. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.